Hello everybody, this is Dr. Fraud Michael Skiba here. I would like to welcome you to the first episode of my Psychology of Fraud book review. So by demand from you, what we're going to be doing is on each episode, we're going to be talking about each of the 7 chapters in the book. I'm going to pick out some topics and we are going to have a nice little fraud fireside chat. Hopefully that sounds good to you. So what are we going to talk about first? Chapter 1. So chapter 1, we started off with some foundational elements about fraud. We talked about the damaging effects of fraud and how it's a global problem. So let's start with that first. I want you to ponder for a moment of what you think the cost of fraud is domestically. This is just in the US. Okay, so this would basically be the cost of all lines of business and basically in all different areas domestically. All right, so take a guess, and I guarantee you're going to be low. So cost of fraud, and I'm going to go to my nice little graph here, is 80, if you can see that, 80 billion. That's not an M, that's a B, billion dollars. Okay, now herein lies the problem. First of all, you see that it is very impactful, right? $80 billion is a lot of money. Now, secondly, what we realize when we do studies, research and academics look into this area and we contact carriers and we look at different sources to find that, here's the problem. There's not many sources. You know, companies all have different metrics for measurement. We're going to talk about that in later chapters as well. So basically that $80 billion is, in my opinion, could be low. It could be high, but I don't think it is. I think it's either right on point or it's on the lower end of the scale because, quite frankly, we don't know what we're quantifying, you know, and again, we're going to talk about that in later chapters. So therein lies the first foundational element. Fraud is a huge, huge problem worthy of counter-fraud efforts, okay, worthy of your attention. Now, second thing I want to talk about is the public perception of fraud. Now, to those of you that have seen me speak a lot, I speak to this topic all the time, and it's a problem. Right? So what I want you to do is I want you to think for a minute of how many people, let's say out of 100, think it's acceptable to commit fraud. Okay, acceptable, quote unquote. You're going to be surprised by this answer. The answer is about 25%. Okay, so about 25% of the public, 25%, 1/4 of the people that you come across today at the coffee shop, at the market, maybe not at work if you're a counter-fraud professional, but in your just daily operations, 1/4 of the people you come across believe it's acceptable to commit fraud. Now, think of how that compares in other industries and other areas and other types of crime, right? Let's compare that to, let's go to the extreme, kidnapping and extortion. Okay, if you were to do that same study of the public, how many people do you think would think it's acceptable to commit kidnapping or extortion? Right? I mean, hopefully that'd be 0. So just look at the conundrum that we're in, the challenges that we face, because 1/4 of the policyholders you have, 1/4 of the public believes that it is acceptable. So right off the bat, we're behind the 8 ball. Okay? So you have 1/4 of those people that are going to try to take advantage of the systems. They're going to look for those weak links, look for those vulnerabilities, and we have to develop strategies to counter that. And that's what we're going to talk about in later modules. And lastly, we talk about claim padding. So there's been some specific research done on claim padding. Now, that's a very myopic view or very myopic topic. So I don't know if you can see this here. Basically, out of 100 people, 18 think it's okay to pad a claim. So very consistent with the other number of about 1/4. Okay, so again, just reiterating the fact that fraud is a huge problem, one, from an impact perspective, monetarily, but second, psychologically. A lot of people think it's okay to commit this type of crime. So this creates very, very interesting challenges for you as counter-fraud professionals. So hopefully you enjoyed this Chapter 1 review of Psychology of Fraud. Stay tuned for the other 6 modules to come. So until next time, I'm Dr. Fraud.